Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Windshield Time, the podcast where we help you use your windshield time to turn learning into earning. And Windshield Time, of course, is brought to you by Service Excellence. I'm Chris Elmore, and this week on Windshield Time, we have put together all of the best objection handling techniques that we've talked about over the last several episodes. Things like how to handle the think about it objection and talk to my spouse and the money objections. So you don't have to go listen to a bunch of different podcasts to find it. We've put it here together for you. So stay tuned. If we think about the five most common objections, the spouse, think about it, expensive, afford it, and multiple bids or second opinion. Of these objections, talk to my spouse is declarative, sacred. It's still a separation objection. Think about it. It's a declaration and it's a separation objection, but it's not sacred. Right. And it's very nebulous, as we discussed. Expensive, declaration. Can't afford it. That is less of a declaration and more of a
invitation. I don't know.
Well, vulnerability is there, which implies they might need some help.
Right.
And so it's less of a declaration and more of maybe I need to know more. Or I need to know how can I even, it's probably I want to do it, but I just can't, I don't have the money for it. Because I don't think someone would give you that objection if they hadn't most of the time decided they know they need it, right? Yeah. And it's the right thing to do. Multiple bids and second opinion, that one can be kind of like talk to my spouse, in that you could think talk to my spouse sometimes could be they're going to talk to their spouse, which is a process objection. So second opinion, multiple bid. I'm getting a second opinion, or I want a second opinion, or I need to get 3 bids. Those are more, they could be process objections too. So if we think about it, we can break them down like that.
Sure.
And so we have to, just like we do every objection, we have to break down what people might be thinking when they do it. And of course, it can go all over the place. Okay, so now we have to think about what would be the reasons, because I think you have to approach objections when you're talking through them. And when you're working them out for yourself, you have to approach objections with that literal first. Yeah. And is there more things that literally they're not going to do? Like we talk about, I'm going to think about it. Are they literally going to sit and ponder the decision? It's possible, but probably not as probable. But when we think of 3 bids and second opinion, that could be a stalling tactic. It could be, well, I want a better price. It could be, I'm a super high C. I have a spreadsheet. This is what I have to do. Process. So we need to think literal and think, what could they possibly be doing by that?
So I think I'm going to differentiate between, they're very similar. Service more along the lines of second opinion, replacement along the lines of multiple bids. But for the second opinion, I think that we often attribute it to, well, we did perfect in our process. We know exactly what we're talking about. And it's probably just a money where they want to see if the money's any different. I would hesitate to say that because there might have been something that you've done to shortchange the process in that they don't actually trust your diagnosis.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to go to. Trust and value. Those are the 2 big things in this.
And I think that a lot of times second opinion might not be about, okay, maybe that's what these things cost. I don't know if you're trying to upsell me a motor when all I need is a capacitor.
Right. So it might be a price comparison thing. It could be defensive.
Even a diagnostic comparison. Are you looking at the same thing, or can I trust you that you're not trying to one of those, wolves in sheep's clothing? So be thoughtful, because we as service professionals try to address the money issue typically if we're going to push back on this. And it might actually be not about money at all.
Yeah.
It might be about the process. You actually undermined that value because they don't trust what you said.
remember that the think about it objection is a way for a customer to distance themselves in a way like they're walking away from they've said something in a conversation, mic drop, they're walking away. Well, you're going to follow them. Now, you're not going to follow them and grab them by the arm and try to turn them around, but you are going to follow them, and you're going to follow them to see, is this really a thing? But it's not even, is it really a thing? Because they rarely just, should I do this? And they do that overnight or whatever. No, they probably already moved on to, we need to get this done. We believe we need to do it. Back to one of the questions you were talking about. We know we need to do it. We just got to figure out how to get it done. But they didn't tell you that. They said we need to think about it because maybe they need to check and move bank money around, or they got to see if it fits in their schedule, those kind of things. And so we have to follow them. We have to push back on it. We have to test it. And we do that by giving them time to do it while we're there and telling them that they're going to have to give a decision to us after that time, whatever that time factor is. And most people will then tell you if they'll go, oh, yeah, because they didn't expect us to be willing to do that.
Yeah.
They probably need 15 minutes. They don't expect us to give them 15 minutes because they think we're just going to be sitting there. And that's why it's important to do something useful. Because then they don't feel like you're just waiting around.
You're lurking outside, hoping that they
he's going to go sit in his truck and smoke a cigarette and charge me money for it.
Right.
Because even though we tell them, even though they know it's flat rate pricing, they still associate time with money. So again, best way to think about it objection is before it comes up, which is follow, press, play. Hit all those principles, and you are going to minimize objections. You may not eliminate them, but you're going to minimize them. If you get to an objection, we leap, we listen, empathize, ask questions, problem solve. We have to go through LEA to see if we have a condition. A smoke screen is not actionable. You cannot problem solve for that, but a condition you can problem solve for. So I go there and pull up in front of this house, and I did the classic thing. There's an old Mercedes station wagon in the driveway that looks like some kid uses it to deliver papers in the morning, back when that used to still happen. It's dirty. It's missing the wheel covers. It's got all these bumper stickers all over the back of it. There's crap piled up in the passenger seat to the door jamb on the window, and there's no other cars. The house hasn't been painted in years. It's you can see where the gutters are full. There's little oak trees growing in the gutters from the acorns. The yard hasn't been trimmed in forever. It's been mowed, but no one's trimmed anything.
Right.
And so that's what I'm walking into. So I'm thinking, these people don't have any money. And this is tripping the breaker. Oh, I'm going to have this blah, blah, blah. I'm going to money, objections, this, that. The guy answers the door, and I go in his house, and he was from somewhere in, I don't know, Southeast Asia. I don't know where he was from. And so I go in, and I'm having a hard time understanding him. And so I'm really trying to understand him, and there's a lot of gesticulating and this, that, and the other. And finally we get to it where, he's got a bad compressor, and he's got two systems in his house, which I didn't expect in that neighborhood, but it's a bigger house. He's got a second story. It looks like it's been added on. He's got two systems. So probably what I figure out is when the addition was done, they replaced the existing system and added a new system to the new addition. So we got to talking. His old system was just as old and run down. It's 13 years old, 14 years old. So we started talking about replacement, this, that, and the other thing. It's going along great. It's just going along great. But I'm still in the back of my mind thinking money, money, money. So I don't quote him the top end stuff. I just quoted him the bottom end stuff. And I gave him some options, but it was all bottom end stuff. Back then high efficiency was
16
was just becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And so, but what happened after that? I'm hazy on some of the details before that, but what happened was I quoted him a price, don't know how much it was. And he looked at it and he goes, I don't know if I can afford that right now. Or he made some money objection. And I said, that's okay. We offer financing. He blew up. Like the whole thing, like you say, hey, good morning. And someone punches you in the face, right? No warning. And he just goes on, and he starts speaking in his native language, and I can't understand him. And he's gesticulating, he's mad and this kind of thing. And you think I need finance? And he come with me, get your stuff. I get my stuff and I go, and he opens the garage door, which was a 2-car garage. And remember, the old Mercedes is in the front.
Sure.
Somebody's clearly driving it.
Right.
He opens the garage door, and there's 2 cars under, like, car covers. And I'm not just talking about some old moving blanket.
Right.
I'm talking about the car covers that you see, like, on the stage at the Mecum auctions, and they whip the thing off, and it all comes off in one fluid motion, all that stuff. The garage is immaculate. Ferrari signs everywhere. He marches me past the 2 cars. You think I can't afford? And opens the door and says, don't come back. And that's it.
Man. It's a good story.
Yeah. Now, sometimes I remember it that he took the cover off, but I don't remember if he did or not. All I know was they could have been 2 Volkswagens. I don't know, but the shapes weren't like Volkswagens. All I know is I totally misjudged this dude.
Right.
Because he had a money objection.
Yeah.
And he took me offering financing as that he couldn't afford it.
Right.
So, and really in his mind, it was probably, he didn't know if he was going to spend that money right now.
Sure.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because he had 2 Ferraris in his garage and he spent all his money on those. Right. I have no idea.
Who knows?
So, but I didn't get a chance to find out. Well, that one always made me remember not to judge somebody for money. There was also another time where I sold a system to somebody and the guy went and literally got a coffee can and pulled out $100 bills and paid me.
Yeah.
So that happens. Those are few and far between, but those are just illustrations of what you were talking about.
Sure.
So when we talk about afford it, and just like every other objection, we have to minimize it or eliminate with our process. Then we leap, listen, empathize, ask questions, problem solve. And I think to me, I can't afford it is the easiest objection to jump straight to a problem solve.
Every single time.
Every single time.
We offer financing, right? That's 99% of what comes out of somebody's mouth.
Yeah, and let's break down LEAP again for.
I want to say, so I think when affordability is going to come up, there's some key questions that could really be asked in the PR, the R, and the E, and the S part of the process before we even get into the LEAP. And
okay, yeah,
I
that's
think
good. Again, using process.
Yeah.
Minimize or eliminate before they come up.
Questions like, hey, have you done research on your situation today? If you're getting out there and you realize, again, if it's a capacitor or something like that, maybe not. But if they're talking to you about replacing a system, I will ask them, hey, have you done some research? Do you have some money set aside? If you were going to invest into a solution, long-term, short-term solution, if you're going to put money towards a solution or invest towards a solution on a monthly basis without taking food off the table, how much would you feel comfortable putting towards something, right? There's ways that you can kind of precondition conversations.
Yeah.
So that they have a context going in and you have a context going in, what their brain space is on this. And then again, we're talking about LEAP, that's when the objection comes up. Typically before the objection comes up, you have already presented. I train to present when you talk money, talk the full dollar amount and or add the financing as part of your presentation.
Absolutely.
Do not wait until they say, can I get it financed? I want it to be open for everybody.
Some people even present just the monthly pricing.
Just monthly price. But I think where you get into the problem is if with that guy you said, hey, I have options of $16,243 or $237 a month.
If I'd have done that, it would have been a different story.
It's a different story because now what you have is the alternative of choice as opposed to the presentation of something that's offensive.
Yes.
And if somebody says, hey, it's a little bit more than I can afford, we offer financing for losers like you is how that comes out next.
That's how it came out to that guy.
Right.
And I think it's important too that can't be your instinctive reaction. You have to stick to LEAP because let me do a little letter play and word play with you here. So LEAP, L-E-A-P, we listen to understand, not to respond. So we're not listening for them to say, I can't afford, we have financing. That's what it sounds like. You just listen to respond. And some people even listen for that one with anticipation, with gleeful anticipation, because they know what they're going to say. I'm going to say we offer financing. Yes, I got this one. I handled it. No. So we listen to understand, not to respond. Then we empathize. I understand. Probably more than you thought it was going to be, and it is unexpected.
Yeah.
Again, I'm letting them know why. I'm not telling them that, no, you're right. You probably can't afford it, but we can see what we can do. I'm not doing that. Or, well, yeah, that really is too expensive. Or, wow, yeah, I understand. That's a lot of money. I'm not doing that. I'm telling them I understand their situation. I'm empathizing with them. So when we listened not to respond, not to regurgitate a script or anything like that. We're genuinely listening, and we're going, I wonder why they would say that.
Right.
Not, oh, they said this, let me access that file in my brain and say what's written on the card.
That's right.
You know, and so then when we empathize, I like what you said about you make it, that's the human part of it. Mm-hmm. And we come around, we're on the same side as them. It's not us against them over this price. And when we ask questions, we're trying to split or distill down and separate why they said what they said, because there's some nuances there. And it's like you said with the expenses, we separate the money from the thing because it could be too expensive because they would never spend that much money.
Right.
It could be too expensive because they don't believe they need it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which would always make it always too expensive no matter what the price was.
No matter what it is. Yep.
And so that's why we have to divide it. And when we divide it, then we get into a situation where now we can really take a path and move forward. And then we can try to problem solve.
Right.
And so that's where I think technical-minded people get off track. Mm-hmm. Because what are we taught to do? We're taught to problem solve.
Right.
That's what we're taught. We're taught to take in the information and deduce the problem and then repair it.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, if you're minded that way, then the customer and money get in the way.
Right.
And so it becomes an awkward situation.
Can become frustrating.
And it's very frustrating.
Yep.
That's a good point. And so what do? We go straight to the repair. We go straight to the fix, whatever it may be.
Facts.
Because that is not awkward.
Mm-hmm.
That is concrete.
Correct.
That is tangible. It's there. It's the part or the thing or whatever. I can use my tools in my hands and I can solve this problem. And so a lot of times when we get an objection, we do the same thing. We are in problem solving mode. And I think it's good that we're like that because that gives us a way to explain the proper way to do it.
Right.
Or why it makes sense to do it the way we just laid out with Leap. But if we go back and we go, okay, what if we problem solve first? What if that's too expensive and you're listening only to respond and the response you were told was, we have financing is a problem solved for most people.
Bad idea.
Yeah, because what happens? What's possibility that could happen? Because the customer says that's too expensive and you in your brain you go right away, well, problem solve, here's the solution that most people choose or most people want. Let me just say it.
Right.
Oh, well, Brando, we do have financing.
Major offense could be taken.
Yep.
Because you told me
I got thrown out of a house.
You told me that it was too expensive, right? And I gave you financing as an option. Well, you didn't say you couldn't afford it.
Yeah, and right? Even
I got plenty of money. I'm just not giving it to you for that.
Yes, exactly.
That's what they're telling you.
Yes, exactly. Financing could also catch you in an awkward spot, even more awkward, which is, yeah, we don't finance anything.
So it wasn't a solution in the first place.
It wasn't a solution in the first. That's exactly right. And so you can get in those awkward situations, but also you leave out the opportunity to truly understand the other person.
That's right.
You've just bypassed all that altogether.
Right. I'm not interested in that.
You weren't listening. You heard, but you're not listening.